Okay, so we have the 3 combinations of stitch available to us, and we're going to be doing a cover stitch. So on the screen, we've got everything's in color, which is great. It's a touchscreen. We're going to be going through and doing a 4-thread cover stitch, and the machine's going to guide us along the way. So first thing is we lift the presser foot and go to the next step. We've unthreaded all of the parts, so we've got no thread at the moment in the machine at all. If you did, you would trim them and pull them all out, so that way you can thread up correctly. Then you're going to attach the other presser foot. Now we remember we saw this in the accessories earlier, that we're in this little white tin, and we are going to take this one off, this one off, and put this smaller one on. So I'll just move all my accessories just out of the way. So to get that, to remove that, there is a little spring in the back of the back of the foot. But if you're not quite sure, you can use the video to show you, and you can see just in here there's a little spring, and you touch that and it will release the presser foot. So then you're going to align this presser foot underneath there, and you're going to just lower it down. Once you've got it aligned, lower it down, and it'll click in and everything will be fine. So now that you've got your new cover stitch foot on, and pop this one off to the side because you're going to come back to him after. So now we've got that one on. That is great. Let's just get out of that screen so we know how to put that one on. And we're looking at our presser foot pressure, and it's on 4, so we're in the right position for that. So now we're going to insert the needles into the positions as shown. So we're going to move these 2 needles and get another needle out and go in with the cover stitch. So how we do that is we use our needle screwdriver, and we're going to do one at a time. And just above the needles, it'll tell you which needle that it relates to. So I'm removing the the left needle. And just make sure I do up those little grub screw again. And I'm going to be inserting this into right cover, this one on this end. So I put it up to there, to flat to the back, and you know it's in the right position because you'll see the top of the needle come into that little window. Then the second one, I'm going to remove it, and if it drops like that, just grab your pair of tweezers and you can bring it out. So then we come into cover stitch center, CC, just pop it up, then undo the screw slightly, just enough that you can see the top of the needle in that little hole. Now this is where our needles come into play, because now we're going to put another needle in. I'm just going to put a size 80 in there. If you're not quite sure, you can look at the banding on the needles. They've got colour bands on them. So then we're going to put the 3rd needle in. Now, if you have trouble, don't forget you have a needle inserter in here, and this is how it works. So it has a round side and a flat side in the back of this little hole. It can hold onto it for you, go down, make sure it's sitting in there, go up as far as you can go, open up the screw just enough that you can put the needle all the way up. Just finger tighten and you're done. Okay, so now we have our 3 cover stitch needles in the right spot. So now we move on to the next section. Deactivate the knife. So on the side, we're going to push the knife down and it gets out of the way, okay? Because we don't want to be cutting anything, because this is the cover stitch, right? So, and then we're going to adjust the cutting width, which is down here on the bottom, and we're doing 5. So we've just taken that to 5. That's down here on the bottom. Attach the cover stitch insert. All right, so now we're going to be removing this one and popping in this one. Oops, got it upside down. No wonder it wasn't going to fit. Okay, I just had to make sure I was off the right way. So there we go. If you're not quite sure, let's have a look and then you'll get a better view of what you're supposed to do. So that comes off, this comes down, that comes off, the looper cover comes off, that goes in just like I've done it here. And oh, we've got one more thing to do. Okay, so that one's done. Deactivate the upper looper. We've got to get rid of this guy. All right, so what's going to happen is, if we look at the video, this one we are going to turn down. So you just he gets tucked away just by putting a little bit of using our foot control. It goes down and it locks it into a different position. Okay, so follow the instructions and everything is great because you get instructions along the way. No setting required for the upper looper. Set the rolled hem to O, which it is, and then we're going to thread these guys here. Now this time we're going to have a look where the lower chain, how it gets threaded. So now we're going to go into the yellow like we had before, and it's going to come across, and then it's going to go up and over the top one. This time come down, up, around and down this way. And we're going to be separating those threads on the side. Okay, so let's do that one. So now that the lower looper has been disengaged, oops, something not quite right here. There we go. All right, now I've got my sew table and I'm going to pack my extra needles away so that you can see a little bit better. So now I've got my yellow coating and it's going to click in, and my foot's still up, so that's really good. So I'm going to go up here, around that one, down, up again and around, because I'm doing the left needle, and it's going to come in and we're going to be popping that in there. So basically it's coming down, up and over, down, around, and following the contour all the way around and sitting in the very first gap on this side so that those threads get separated. And if you want to use your needle threader, I think I might have to do that because my eyes aren't all that great. So let's use the needle threader to its full advantage. Okay, one's done. Second one is the green. Okay, making sure we haven't got anything tangled. Going in the groove, in that little guide, coming around, up and over, down and under, into center, and into center there. And it sort of separates that thread so they're not all going to get tangled at the needle. And there we go, threaded and under. So that's really cool. Third one is RC right cover stitch, and we're using the blue coating on this one. So here we go, getting that in the guide, across in front of the blue this time, coming in, up and down and into right cover, RC. And then we're going to come across and on the third guide coming in. Now you might be able to see this too well, and I'm sorry that we can't get that close. We might try and get a few extra shots and put in there. But basically, if you follow the instructions that's on the screen, I love it because you don't have to go and find the manual or try to work out exactly what's trying to happen. They've given us videos to look at in case we get lost. And I think that is a really great thing because we've got visual help right here. So now I'm going to pop my needle threader back in the accessories, and then pop my screwdriver and my tweezers, because I think we're done with them for the moment. Pop that back up. So now here we've done that step. Oh no, we haven't done the cover. Oops, most important one. All right. For this particular exercise, I'm going to do the cover in blue so you can see what happens with that thread when we do the cover stitch. So it's on the purple line of threading. So we're going to do the same thing with the purple line. Okay, so it's clicked in there. Really important that it clicks in, as you saw. Sometimes if you don't, it doesn't thread very well. So now we're going to have a look at that particular piece of information, because we have to make sure that that looper is going to be threading correctly. So we make sure we keep things open, and we've got to bring our pipes over. All right, so only one pipe engages time. So it tells us what we've got to do. So we're going through and we're going to thread this looper. Okay, so here it is here. And if you watch the video, it's gone in. We've pushed it through, and we're going to cut it off about here somewhere. All right, because we don't want that getting all tangled up in the works at the bottom. All right, so then we unengage, pop that up, and we're ready to do our 4-thread cover stitch. It's getting exciting now. So everything's been preset. We don't have to do anything else because we've gone through our guided step. So now I'm imagining that I'm doing a hem. So this is the wrong side and this is the right side. So I'm going to be sewing from the top. So I'm just going to use, I haven't got my knee lifter on, so we're just going to go and see how this runs. And look what happens. That's our chain stitch on the bottom, and this is our triple cover on the top. So you can see what happens with that chain looper at the bottom. It's been caught up with all those stitches, and that is your triple cover. Now you saw something happen here when I actually chained off. And what that means is I've run off the edge of the fabric. normally with a cover stitch machine, you can't chain off. Oh, sub machines you can, sorry. All right. So what happens is these threads aren't getting tangled, they're not getting caught, it's not terrible for the machine, but if I don't start exactly on the fabric, it's not going to break the cover stitch or the cover chain. So I guess for someone who doesn't use an overlocker, having these guided steps is really, really easy way to make sure that you're setting your overlocker up exactly right, without having to have a reference book, without having to have a stitch card, all those things. If you're using all of the features of the machine in the guided mode, then step by step you've got video help, you've got all those kinds of things. The thing that amazes me with this series of overlockers is how quiet they are and how much they feel like they are a sewing machine rather than an overlocker. So it is, for someone who, I don't use overlockers very much. I'm a quilter, like everybody knows. I'll use them, I have used them, I've owned them in the past, but I never sort of, for me it was sort of like this, I know all about my sewing machine and I know what to do with it. And in this particular case, Bernina have done a really great job to overcome the fear of overlocking in a great machine that offers you help and guidance so that your results can be perfect. The idea that I can get on a cover stitch machine and I have the help I need to set this up, to do all the different variations and turn out for the fabric that I'm choosing, that to me is a game changer, and I probably will use my overlocker more because I don't have to worry what setting to put it on or all those kinds of things. If I'm in guided, I'm able to do that. With the sewing, the creative consultant, I should say, in here, I don't have to worry about fabric types. All I need to know is what kind of fabric it is, whether it's medium weight, stretch, all those kinds of things, and get used to the information on the screen. And if I don't know what any of the information on the screen is, I can touch the question mark, touch the key, and it's going to tell me. So there's lots and lots of help, as do you have with a lot of the Bernina sewing machines as well. So it's really a seamless interaction. If you have a Bernina machine that has a creative consultant and you love using that, this is not going to be a foreign entity to you. There's nothing else that you need to be learning or remembering because it's giving you the guidance. Now, when you're using the creative consultant on these, it's more like a manual setup because you're choosing the fabric. But at the same time, those kind of things take quite a while to learn if you're a beginner. So this machine gives you quite an advanced experience because it's helping you to get a great result. So